Hey, welcome back. We have a knife here, and this one is just in from our friends at Tenable Knives. I just unboxed this other one today, the Cryo, sorry. And now let's see what else they sent. Great edges on their knives, very impressed by that. So let's see what we have here. We have some pretty cool designs. This one is, it's Halloween in 3 days. Perfect knife for my Halloween photo this year, so stoked on that. And let's get into it and see what we got. Nice little light cut there to preserve the packaging, as I do. I am a collector at heart. And this one is the Tenable Eaglestrike. Oh, cool. I think this one's going to be a little bit of a lighter weight bar lock knife versus the Cryo was a bit of a heftier model there. So yeah, oh cool, they have the designer on there. I didn't notice that before. So this is a James Lowe design, and let's see what we think. Comes with some extra springs there, which is nice. It's a little lighter, but not much. This thing is substantial. Ah, nice. They do a really good bar lock. Check out, you got the designer there, the Eaglestrike name. Oh, Nitro V on this one. Okay, that one was 14C28N. This one's Nitro V. Nice and centered. Nice, it feels like aluminum scales, I think. Are these aluminum or titanium? Black stonewashed Nitro V, blue anodized aluminum with diamond pattern scales. So nice little jimping here. I think this, is a cool design, but if you have a really big hand, you might get up a little further on that and kind of get a little bit of a hot spot on that ridge there. So food for thought on that. But yeah, it's got the same kind of design here where you have the hollowed out scales with the, probably aluminum or titanium liners inside of it. Nice pocket clip on this one, a little fancier than the pocket clip on this one. This one's more of a deep carry Lynch style, and this one's more of that, milled out, fancier pocket clip. Let's see if that thing is steel. No, probably titanium pocket clip there. So that's really nice. I like the design. It feels really good in hand. No play, but absolutely butter on the bearings. They do a really good job of sending their knives ready to go. I have not received one I can think of that felt like it needed to be broken in, which is really nice. So they do a good QC check on their knives. And you may not know Tenable. They're probably not as well known as some of the other makers in that region out of China, but they have a very good website that they work with. They have been great to work with, just great communication. So I imagine you get good support from them as well, given the communication I've seen. And they do have some very compelling designs here. This is, there are certainly some elements here that resonate things we've seen in other knives, but there are also some pretty cool design cues there. So they're working with some good designers. Let's check the edge. They seem to be very consistent, that they put out a really nice edge on their knives that can, just basically drop right into paper like that. That's sharp, man. And what I've noticed on their edges is that they tend to be very consistent. So as you look from the choil all the way up to the tip, you have really the same size on the edge the whole way, which makes it really easy to maintain and keep sharp. Strop it and sharpen it, just keep their same edge. And that always looks really nice to me when the edge is very consistent. It's a bit flat, it's not, you're not talking about contoured scales here. Let's go ahead and just do some quick size comparisons. So here it is compared to a Spyderco Para 3, and then compared to a Demco 80-20.5. So definitely a bigger, longer knife here than those. Bigger handle and blade length. Compared to a much smaller knife, the Wee Banter, CGRB Pyrite, one of my favorite budget knives that's out there. Let's compare it to the Benchmade Bug Out And lastly, here is a tactile knife company, Rockwall, to compare to. So definitely on the bigger side. If you want to compare it to a bigger knife, so going back on my words lastly, here's a full-size Demco 8020, so not as big as that, but up there. We're talking about a sizable knife here. Despite that, with the aluminum scales and everything, the weight is not crazy. That cryo was 4.25 ounces. Let's see what we get on this Eaglestrike here. I'm feeling about 3.75 ounces. Oh, I'm off. It's actually heavier. It feels light, 4.48. So it is a big knife. It's definitely bigger. Oh, maybe pretty similar there. A little bigger maybe than the cryo. The cryo had tipped the scale at 4.24. And then here we're talking 4.48. So I guess the aluminum versus the carbon fiber as well. But it's got a pretty nice blade stock thickness. You've got sort of a fake dual edge on the top there. Pretty nice little grind. It looks cool. It feels good in hand. And these go for totally reasonable prices, despite all of this pretty high-end stuff and a designer that they work with, $69.89 right now on their website. Sometimes they run sales. I think I have a link I can share in my description that you can probably use as well for an additional discount. So I'll include that if that's the case. And yeah, their bar locks are about as good as I've seen out there. They do them pretty exclusively on bearings, it seems like, and everything seems to have really good action. This knife just feels really good in hand. Nothing not to like here. Nice little chamfers around the edges. Nothing super hot spotty again, depending on your hand size. This is a big knife, so you're probably not going to get past that point. But, if you really wanted to get up, your finger is going to fit in there just perfectly anyway. So that's not a problem, but, not everyone wants that little ridge there, and in which case maybe the cryo might be a better fit for you if you're in this sort of price range and looking for one of these types of knives. They're doing really good work here. I'm just going through the website. They do have this also in like a silver on silver, so you don't need the black if you don't want the dark wash. They have just kind of a classic silver on silver that looks really nice. It looks a lot like the Demco there style, if you're into that kind of style. So that's about it. Yeah, really impressed so far with everything I've received from these guys. One of the knives that they sent me was I think a fixed blade, I want to say. I'd have to go double check. I think they sent me a fixed blade as well. That was pretty cool. So if you like fixed blades, they do have, yep, I'm confirming on the website, they sent me a knife called the Tenable Tiny Dancer, and that was a nice one as well. So yeah, on the smaller side, but they do have some bigger fixed blades like the Par. That's kind of a cool blade shape and stuff. So feel free to go check those out. And I will link what I can in the description, and feel free to let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.